Run it back, nation. What is good? DJ Eastwood here. This is the home of the most brutally honest Philly sports takes on YouTube. Some people don't like it, but it's because some people don't like the truth. Hit the like button if you like the truth. Hit the dislike button if you like lying to yourself. And hit the subscribe button if you're new. I give you these podcast episodes every single day for free. I want my subscription. Hit the notification bell so you get notified immediately when I post these videos or when I go live. I'm about to go live a lot more. The live streams are about to get all kinds of popping and cracking, so you don't want to miss out on that. And if you want to support the channel, click the link in the description. Get yourself one of these Run It Back t-shirts. Let's get into this. Look, man, I was driving home today from taking my son to school, and I was listening to 97.5 The Fanatic. And Dan Orlovsky was on the show, the former NFL quarterback, the guy that's on ESPN and all these places, always defending Carson Wentz. And I'm always defending Carson Wentz, except recently. And Dan is also recently been critical of Carson Wentz. It's just reality. The things that we saw in the last game are just not defendable. There's not much we can say about it. But, and I wanted to play it, but I couldn't get it. It's not on the website yet. It just happened on the radio, so I'm sure the recorded version will come out at some point, and you'll be able to hear it on the internet. But for right now, I'm just going to tell you two things off the top of my head. Obviously, I couldn't take notes while I was driving. I'm not that dedicated. Two things off the top of my head that stuck out to me in what Dan Orlovsky said, and then we're going to talk about a one-on-one with Doug Pederson that I just watched today also, that was posted by the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday, and we're going to watch that live because I started watching that, and I already had some reactions, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to save this. I'll just watch it live on YouTube and do a live reaction. So that's what we're going to do. The two things Dan Orlovsky said about Carson Wentz. They asked him, would you bench Carson Wentz right now, or would you consider benching Carson Wentz right now? And he said no. The reason he said no is that we are leading the division, and you still have a chance to win this division, and there's plenty of time for Carson Wentz to turn it around and fix the mistakes that he's making. I feel the same way. I wouldn't bench Carson Wentz right now. It doesn't make sense. You're in first place in the division. If the Cowboys were healthy and you weren't leading the division, and say you just got blown out by the Cowboys because of Carson Wentz's 4 turnovers, and you're 2-4-1, and maybe the Cowboys are like 6-2 or something, then I would certainly be on the, okay, this is a disaster. We're getting nowhere. Nothing's getting better. We might as well throw Jalen Hurts in there and see what he can do. I would be on that train. But because the rest of the NFC is so goddamn terrible, I don't know if I can say goddamn on YouTube. Because the NFC East is so terrible, we're actually still leading the division. There's no reason that we won't continue to lead the division and win the division and make it to the playoffs. So, you know, you kind of still have to give Carson Wentz that time to fix these mistakes that he's making. A very interesting thing that he said is that, and I question this a lot myself, I say, what the hell are these guys doing in practice? How can Carson Wentz keep coming out here week after week making the same exact mistakes? And those mistakes, holding the ball way too long, not reading the middle of the field, staring down receivers, being insanely predictable. But the biggest mistake that everyone talks about is holding the ball too long, taking sacks, and fumbling the football. How can he keep coming out every single game making these same mistakes? What the hell are they doing in practice? Are they working on this in practice? And Dan Orlovsky said what they used to do at practice is they used to do drills where the quarterback would have somebody, a defender, chasing him, and there would be 4 options that he could make, and there would be a receiver flashing across the field, and they would either send another defender at him and make him choose to either throw it to the receiver flashing across the field or throw it out of bounds. One of those options definitely was not to hold onto the football and get blasted in the face and fumble. Okay, so they worked on that in practice, and they would work on it over and over and over to get this quarterback out of the mindset of holding the football, to drill it into his head. I either got to hit a receiver or I got to get rid of it. And Carson Wentz's play recently tells me that the Philadelphia Eagles do not work on this in practice. There's absolutely no way. The mistakes that he's consistently making, you would want him to show up on Sunday with it drilled into his head. I cannot hold the ball this long. I cannot make these same mistakes. I have to either hit the receiver or get the ball out of bounds. I can't keep making these same mistakes. You would want that to be fresh in his mind from drilling it over and over in practice. And I know a lot of people that don't think too deep into this want to just say, well, Carson Wentz stinks. Me personally, I'm not seeing how he went from 2017 with Frank Reich looking like the next Peyton Manning to no offensive coordinator, just Doug Pederson running the offense, and he looks like absolute garbage. I'm not going to just say that's random. There's no way that's random to me. To me, all signs are pointing toward the coaching staff. All signs are pointing toward the system. All signs are pointing toward what the hell they're doing in practice. That's just me. Dan Orlovsky also had an interesting thing to say about Doug Pederson's offense. He said, there's no successful creative plays that breed other plays. Meaning, they run a play where a wide receiver motions, I forget what the motion he called it, but the wide receiver motions behind the quarterback. They snap the ball right when the wide receiver is behind the quarterback. It's just to get the defense moving and thinking, questioning themselves, and then he hands it off to Boston Scott, and they got a couple good runs out of it. Not only does Doug Pederson not run that single play again for the rest of the game, because like I always say, he's just picking random plays the entire game. He never even goes back to what was successful. He has no documents of what works and what doesn't work. But on top of that, that play specifically gets the defense moving. You got a big run from Boston Scott out of it, right? He not only does he never run that play again for the rest of the game, Dan Orlovsky makes a great point. There should be different versions of that play. And this is what I'm talking about when it comes to play calling progression. Doug Pederson does not seem like he's calling plays in a progression and calling a play, seeing if it worked, and then building off of that momentum. He just seems like he's randomly calling plays all the time. That play, when it works to Boston Scott, throughout the game, you should be running that same play in different versions. Maybe you snap the ball and you hand it to the wide receiver that's motioning for an end around. Maybe a Jalen Reagor end around or a Travis Fulgham or somebody else that's fast enough to run the play. Maybe you run that version of the play. Maybe you then run the play later in the game and you fake the handoff to Boston Scott. You don't hand it to the receiver and you run a play action and get somebody over the middle or somebody down the field. Those are creative plays that are designed to make the defense question what they're doing, to make the defense make mistakes. Doug Pederson does not do that whatsoever, and it's just because Doug Pederson doesn't have the mental offensive capacity to come up with creations like that. Doug Pederson cannot create an offense. His offense is insanely predictable. You're not giving the defense different looks the whole game. You're not making them question anything. You're giving them exactly what they want. They can see what's coming a mile away. I don't know if Tony Romo has called an Eagles game yet this year, but you know Tony Romo is known for calling out plays before they happen because he played quarterback. He's very good at calling out plays before they happen by just watching the game. Tony Romo could call out the plays on this offense with his eyes closed. He would probably know exactly what plays coming every single down. And do you not think defenses are smart enough to do the same thing? They know what's coming. Doug Pederson does not have the creativity to instill a game plan that makes defenses question themselves and make mistakes. He just calls random play after random play, doesn't build off of his past calls, doesn't know what was successful, and it's just a disaster. And you can see with this Eagles record and what their offense has looked like the entire season, that's what it is. This team needs an offensive coordinator so bad. Frank Reich in 2017, more of an offensive mindset, more of a system, more of an entire game plan, more of taking plays that work, building off of them, running different versions of those plays. This is never going to go anywhere if the Eagles don't get an offensive coordinator. There's no way that out of nowhere Doug Pederson is suddenly going to become creative and suddenly going to fix all the things that he does wrong. He's just really bad at running an offense, and it is what it is. So that was Dan Orlovsky's quotes that I remembered off the top of my head and I wanted to give my thoughts on. You guys can go ahead and give me all your thoughts and opinions on that topic in the comments. And also, we have a live one-on-one with Doug Pederson that was posted on the Eagles Twitter page, and we're just going to go watch that right now. And I don't know, react to it live, I guess. Let's see if I can get the volume going on here.
Spadero, Coach, good afternoon to you. We are talking just after your media scrum, and it's interesting. You know, you got grilled, and are you going to replace Carson? Are you going to do this? What's wrong with this? And your approach is a very positive approach. Can you kind of go into detail why you feel the way you do right now about this football team?
Because we're first place in the NFC East. We've won two straight division games. We got a chance to really improve this week during the bye. We get some guys rested up and healthy, and even some guys that have been injured and missed a couple of weeks. Hopefully a chance to come back.
Nobody gives a damn that you're first place in the NFC East. Like, that's not an accomplishment with as bad as this division is.
You know, in a week here and help us play. And I see so much good with the amount of young players and young guys that are playing who are getting valuable reps. I just see the positive in everything. And listen, we know we have to get better, Dave. We've got to get better as an offense. I think the defense is.
We've got to get better as an offense. See, every single week he says the same thing. We have to get better. I have to be better. We have to be better. Carson Wentz says the same thing. Are you eventually going to tell us what you're going to do differently to get better? The fact that you're running this offense and 8 games into the season, you're still saying we have to get better as an offense. What is your plan, Doug Pederson? How are you going to do doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results is what? It's crazy, right? What exactly are you going to change about yourself? See, that's the thing. Doug Pederson, I think he just has this level of arrogance. He's not looking at himself. He needs to look at himself. What am I doing wrong?
Playing really well and playing good and keeping us in these football games. And quite honestly, if they give us a chance.
Well, your defense is playing good, but you're also playing third-string quarterbacks and terrible offensive lines, so.
Late in the game in the fourth quarter to make plays, our guys are gutsy enough to eke out a win, and that's what it takes in this league. And bottom line is find a way to win, and we've been able to do here the last couple of weeks.
You know, this team started 0-2, then you tied Cincinnati. Since then, the Eagles are 3-2, tough losses in Pittsburgh and against Baltimore. So what does this 5-game stretch say to you?
It shows us that I think we can play with any team in the league. Really, you go back to the San Francisco game with, they were in the Super Bowl.
Another third-string quarterback, San Francisco game.
Year before, you come back to Pittsburgh and you go toe-to-toe with one of the top teams in the NFL. They're still undefeated, obviously, in the NFL. And then you play Baltimore at home, and, again, another tremendous defense, high-powered offense, and you go toe-to-toe down to the wire with the guys that we have playing, and we battle right to the end. And you're not at full strength. And it just gives you encouragement moving forward that we can continue to coach, we can continue to work. And Dave, I can honestly say that our players are excited about where we are. I mean, the fact that we're getting better, I think we are improving each week. They're getting healthy, and they know their mistakes. They know.
I don't know if we're improving
each week. The things that have gone right, the things that have gone bad. And how we can improve.
You don't think we've taken a step back from that Pittsburgh game and that Baltimore Ravens game to show up against the depleted Dallas Cowboys, literally the worst team in the NFL, and have 4 turnovers and barely squeak out a win? You don't think that's a step back? That's improving? I don't think you're improving.
And so to me, that's what's encouraging, is being around these players and see their positivity each and every day.
There have been suggestions from the media. Doug, why don't you sit Carson Wentz for a series, a half?
Ooh, I can't wait to hear what he says about this.
Tell us what your thoughts are on that.
I just think that might be the easy thing to do, is just say, hey, okay, Carson, sit for a while. But, we've got to work through our problems, right? We're faced with them, and we got to work through them. And we do have some young guys playing, and you don't want to disrupt the timing and rhythm with those guys.
I'm still wondering what the reason was for drafting Jalen Hurts. I just want to throw that out there.
And you got to continue to work through it, and we're going to continue to work through it. And Carson understands, as the leader of this team, that he's got to do better protecting the football, and we know that, and we can't put our defense on a short field all the time, and we've got to do better on 4th down, and I've got to put our team in a better play call situation possibly on 4th down.
Possibly, he said. What the hell do you mean possibly? It's 100% what has to happen. This guy's getting destroyed every week for his play calling, and he says possibly. Like, nah, bro, that's what it is. Accept it. You're terrible at play calling.
Things of that nature. So it's not the knee-jerk reaction to just yank your quarterback and put him on the sideline and have him watch. We're gonna work through it. We're gonna grind through it and get better.
You really believe when you get Miles back and you get Zach back and Lane's healthy, this offense is going to more closely resemble what you thought it would be when you put all these pieces together. Am I correct?
I believe that. I believe that we can be that type of offense, and then you sprinkle in the young guys that have been playing. You're giving yourself an opportunity here down the stretch, and that's all we can ask for. So yeah, I do believe that we can improve when we get these guys back.
How much have the injuries, Doug, altered what your play calling is or your approach is, from the time in September to now? I mean, has it changed a lot during the course of these first 8 weeks?
I don't think it's really changed the play calling as much as it's just
No, because your play calling has always been basic. It'll always be basic. Nothing's going to change the play calling.
The lack of continuity with so many, offensive line pieces changing each week, and now, the tight end situations, and we've had some running back situations. And
we moved Jason Peters for no reason. We moved Jordan Mailata for no reason.
I still want to maintain my aggressiveness as a play caller and all of that, but at the same time, with all the moving pieces around Carson, you got to be a little bit more careful with that, and you just somehow have got to get some continuity with the guys you got, and I do believe that that's slowly starting to come. The more these guys play.
What do you feel really good about on this football team right now?
Oh, good question.
Well, I think about the defense, and I think about where they are, and really the last couple of weeks really playing well. And it was really good to see a defensive score against the Cowboys, and that's something that we talk about is trying.
Listen, that's against a third-string quarterback. I don't give a damn about that. If you really think about the defense against the Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens, the defense lost both of those games. The Chase Claypool play and the play where Lamar Jackson just ran down the middle of the field right past Nate Gary like he was stuck in cement. The defense lost both of those games. So Doug Pederson's going to hype up the defense here because they got turnovers against a third-string quarterback on the worst team in the NFL. But that to me, does not make the defense a great one or promising moving forward aside from the defensive line itself.
To win the turnover battle each week, and then, of course, scoring on defense and scoring on special teams. Special teams has been very consistent as far as our coverage units go, and that's something that has been a bright spot. And then even some of our young receivers, Travis Fulgham has really emerged for us, and
yes.
Boston Scott here the last couple of weeks has really emerged, and Jordan Mailata is getting better each and every week, and every snap he takes.
Yeah, Jordan Mailata was getting good. And then you took him out of his position and because you overpaid Jason Peters.
Just remember, football is relatively new to him, and so he's getting better each week. So there is a lot of positive, coming out of these first 8 weeks, and probably the biggest one is the fact that we're still, a game and a half right now on top of the NFC East.
Tell me about Jordan a little bit. When you've watched him over the last several weeks here, I mean, what are you seeing? Where can he go? What kind of player is he?
Well, I think if you go back to his first year, you go back to his second year. I know he's been injured a little bit his first couple of seasons, but I think we could honestly say that he couldn't play left tackle and then switch over and play right tackle the next week. I just don't think you could have done that to him or to the team. But now you're seeing the fact that he's.
Is he talking about Mailata?
Right now on top of the NFC East.
Tell me about Jordan a little bit. When you've watched him over the last several weeks here, I mean, what are you seeing? Where can he go? What kind of player is he?
Well, I think if you go back to his first year, you go back to his second year. I know he's been injured a little bit his first couple of seasons, but I think we could honestly say that he couldn't play left tackle and then switch over and play right tackle the next week. I just don't think you could have done that to him or to the team. But now you're seeing the fact that he's very capable of handling the left side and then going over to the right side the next week and really just plugging in and playing.
That doesn't mean you should do it.
He's better with his technique, with his hands, understanding the offense. So it really gives you confidence with him that he can play both sides of the ball and just improving incrementally, but he has shown improvement each week, and that's encouraging.
You mentioned Travis Fulgham. Jalen Reagor comes in. He has 4 touches, touchdown, the 2-point conversion, the run. Where are we going to see him in the second half of the season? You're going to get him on the jet sweep. You're going to get him in the screen game. He seems to be really dynamic with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, I think that's something we're going to look at, during this bye week and see how we can get these guys touches. I think it's important that guys like Jalen Reagor and Travis, get their touches early. Dallas Goedert, when we get Zach back. Miles Sanders is another one. And, you talk about all those guys, but you got one football to spread around. And yet you want to give each one, 3 or 4 targets a game and see what they can do. But, yeah, he was great to get him back out on the field to get his sea legs back a little bit, in game situations. And I think he'll only improve as we go each week.
Doug, I asked you what you liked about the team. Where do you see areas that you really would like to improve over the next 8 games?
Well, the glaring one is ball security. We got to make sure we take care of the football as an offense. That's probably the biggest thing. I think, and then we've just got to, again, tighten up some things offensively with some of the scheme stuff that we're doing and making sure we are coaching it right, coaching it better, and just detailing our work there. I would like to see us increase and get better in the turnover ratio each week. We got to try to win that battle and create some more takeaways on defense. And then really on special teams, as hard as it is, to score on special teams, we got to be a little more consistent. When it's an opportunity to make 3, let's make 3. And then the same way,
wow, really,
flip the field by field position as a
Doug Pederson educating himself on when to kick field goals and when to go for it on 4th down.
Turner,
okay.
I'd like to see us maybe increase that just a little bit. So there's some ways
be
we
smarter.
can improve, some things we can get better at. But ball security and takeaways are probably the biggest things moving forward. And then I would say this, Dave, still giving ourselves a chance to compete in the red zone, I think is important for us. And we've got to get a little bit better there in the red zone.
What do you do in the next week here to become a better football team? What happens behind the scenes?
We go back and we self-scout. We take a look at the first 8 games and we study us and just as if we're studying an opponent and really with kind of softer eyes and see where we can improve and see what worked and what didn't work and then just build upon what worked. And this is the time that we can do that. Find these takeaways, and then at the same time, when the players come in, show the players, what we've accomplished, and how we can get better in the second half of the season.
Doug, I've been lobbying you for years. Where's the shovel pass, man? Can you get the Spadero shovel pass in there? Can you work on that a little bit?
We actually had one up a couple weeks ago, but we pulled it out of the game plan. But yeah, all that kind of stuff is stuff we're going to take a look at.
I got to see one of these days. All right. Hey, Coach, thanks very much for your time. Our weekly one-on-one with head coach.
Yeah, so 8 games into the season, Doug Pederson is basically saying, I need to be a better coach. We need to get better at coaching. I'm just so over it, man. This is not going to change without an offensive coordinator. Let's just call it what it is. If the Eagles win this division, and they're going to get smoked in the first round of the playoffs, and then you gotta make changes. You have to. You can't look at what happened this season and last season and think that it's acceptable for a team that's supposed to be just off of a Super Bowl victory, that's supposed to be a competitive team. It's not acceptable, and you need to give Doug Pederson an offensive coordinator. You probably need a new quarterback coach because clearly they're not getting through to Carson Wentz at all. I think you need to fire Howie Roseman, period, because his drafting has been horrible. He's overpaid the hell out of old players and put the Eagles in a horrible cap space. There's things that have to happen, but a whole bunch of nothing right there from Doug Pederson, basically. I don't expect much to change coming out of the bye week, but you guys give me all your thoughts and opinions in the comments on this Doug Pederson interview, on what you think about Carson Wentz, whether or not you would bench Carson Wentz for Jalen Hurts. Let me know what you think about Dan Orlovsky's quotes on the radio. And I will see you in the next episode of Run It Back. Hit the like button, hit the dislike button if you hate me, and hit the subscribe button, notification bell, all that good stuff, man. You guys have a great day. Peace.